Petty Revenge. Jerk waiter embarrasses me in front of a date. Is forced to eat crow. I was on a date with a woman I had met through a work function. We went to a nice Italian place that was near my office and were having a really pleasant evening, though the waiter seemed to have a thing for my date. It's a family-owned place, and not at all unusual for the waitstaff to pay general compliments to the customers. It can set a really great atmosphere, but this guy was borderline hitting on my date, enough for her to uncomfortably ask me if it was normal. A few minutes after the entrees arrived, the waiter swung by to make sure everything was acceptable, but he laid it on thick by implying that I didn't deserve such a lovely woman. We laughed it off, but a minute later I excused myself to use the restroom and tracked down the waiter to request that he tone it down a few notches, as he was embarrassing himself, my date, and me. He was a bit overconfident and feigning ignorance, but assured me he would refrain from further compliments. The service was absolutely fine after that, and it became a memorable evening of getting to know someone new in a romantic setting. Until the check came. I stuck my credit card in the bill book, but when the waiter returned, he apologized and said that the card had been declined. I immediately knew what was going on because I pay my credit card off in full every single month. I don't use it for big long-term purchases. He insisted that he tried twice and that perhaps we try another card, or my date could pay the bill. I'm usually pretty level-headed in tense situations, but I have to admit this nearly ruined the evening for me. I kept my voice down, but demanded the owner visit the table to get involved. The waiter assured me that that wasn't necessary and that he'd try the card again, but I insisted and said I would track her down myself if he didn't care to it. The look on his face when he realized that this was happening was sweeter than the dessert we'd shared. He disappeared for about a minute and returned with the check, claiming that it went through this time. And would I still care to involve the owner, were it not for 20% gratuity being built into the bill? I would have said no. Instead, I told him that he could refund me the 20%, or I could request the owner do it. Sheepishly, he said, "Yes, sir. I'll remove the tip immediately." The woman and I never got serious, but this was a great inside joke that kept us laughing on the few dates we had after that. Ooh, petty revenge. The top comment reads, "A table of two with a 20% tip automatically built in? That's insane." OP asks, "Is that not usual? I never really gave it a second thought, but normally the place is delicious and has great service." Well, there you have it. Punk ass waiter hitting on my date.